A very good afternoon to everyone who has joined the 3M webinar. Our today's topic is road safety solutions for National Highway Model Road projects. My name is Dipti Date. I'm the marketing manager for 3M Transportation Safety Division in India. And it is my pleasure to welcome all of you here today. Over the course of next 1 hour, we will try to take you through the various solutions and case studies that can help us devise model roads for national highways in India. We will be sharing the recording of today's webinar with all of you. However, since we have not asked you to register for the webinar, in case you wish to receive a recording or in case you wish us to contact you one-on-one offline for further discussion, I would request you to leave your contact information with us in the Q&A section of the webinar. On the screen right now, you're able to see how you can join the webinar via phone and also via laptop. If you have joined the webinar on phone, you would have clicked Join the Event button. On the top right corner, you would see the option to refresh the browser in case you run into any audio-visual issues during the course of the webinar. Once you refresh the browser, the video and audio should start automatically, and you will not miss anything even if you get disconnected in between. Just below the webinar window, you'll be able to see two subheadings, Q&A and Pulse. You can use the Q&A section to post your comments, your queries, and your feedback. And at the end of the webinar today, we will try our best to answer most of them. And in case, because of paucity of time, we are not able to answer, we'll make sure to get back to you one-on-one offline. I once again repeat that if you wish for us to get back to you, or if you wish for us to share the recording of the webinar with you, please leave your name, organization name, email ID, and phone number in the Q&A section. Next to the Q&A section, you will find the Pulse tab. Towards the end of the webinar, I will request you to activate this tab and give us a feedback on how today's session went and how we can improve such sessions in the future. On the screen right now, you can also see how you would have joined on the laptop, and you can have the controls to make your screen full screen by clicking on the top icon under the 6th bullet point. You can also change the volume settings by clicking on the volume icon towards the right-hand side at the bottom of your screen. If we go to the things to remember in today's session, if you have issues in hearing audio video, please refresh your browser. If you wish us to contact you or share the recording with you, please mention your name, email, phone number, organization, and city in the Q&A section. Please participate in the poll at the end of the webinar to share your feedback. And at any point in time, if you have any further questions or feedbacks, please drop an email to transportation_safety.in@mmm.com, and we will ensure we get back to you. So with this, I will invite Chitra Saini from the 3M team to start the webinar on the topic of road safety solutions for National Highway Model Road Project.
Thank you, Deepti, for setting up the tone for the webinar. Hi, everyone. Very good evening. I once again welcome you on behalf of 3M India to the Road Safety Webinar for Model Roads. I am Chitra Saini and I'm the Business Development Manager. As you're all aware that NHAI plans to build model highways stretches across the length and breadth of the country near each state capital. These model stretches will have all required safety and aesthetic feature facilities for pedestrians. There will be an advanced traffic control systems integrated with cameras, CCTV cameras at all vulnerable location. There will be no black spot, and thereby the aim is to achieve a zero deficiency road. In this seminar, in the same context, the webinar has been designed to take you through various 3M road safety solutions and other elements for safer road how this can be fit in to the model road contest. So with this, I will start with the agenda. What is the today's agenda for the webinar? We will cover the key attributes of model road from an end road user perspective. We will talk about various road safety solution and elements for model roads. We will talk about the science behind reflectivity and why visibility matters. We will talk about the pavement marking solutions and what is the impact of pavement marking in adverse weather condition and day and night visibility, why it is so important. We will talk about the elegant toll plazas, that how an advanced information to a toll user can help in plan his journey while he's crossing the toll, and he can be in a lane which is designated to him. So by this, we can also maintain the lane discipline and to a significant impact on the FASTag application in terms of improvement and outcome. We will also talk about the variable messages sign, that what is the importance of VMS on model road, how this device can be utilized for a real-time information dissemination, and not only this, how this can be integrated with the advanced traffic management to aid to traffic management. And we'll end up the session with a question and answer session. So now, next slide. So now let me start with the key attributes of model road from a road user perspective. As I shared, this new approach for highways where it will have all inclusive the parameter of road infrastructure, mobility and efficiency, environmental performance, there will be a traffic control devices and safety and security. But at the end of the day, model road must address the road user perspective, the expectation in relation to the road transport, and in so doing, defining a model for a highway of tomorrow that should adopt a societal demand. In this slide, I will talk about the model road attributes from a road user perspective. So very first perspective is safety and security, the first attribute. The road user should be able to interpret well. That is the demand of a road user in terms of safety and security for the roads. The number of crashes increases with the number of decisions that need to be made by the road user. Uniformity in road signs and traffic control devices plays an important role in reducing the number of required decisions made by the driver. If the driver is able to interpret well in advance the warning signs, and about any potential danger further on the road, he can make his decision much in advance and can have a safe journey. So it is very important to have a uniformity of road signs and also for the traffic control devices. Not only this, a road user also expects when an incident happens on the road, there has to be a quick response and recovery time for all kinds of incidents on the road. Second key attribute from a road user perspective is reliability and comfort. How we make the excellent riding experience for a road user. A road user should have the predictable travel time for his journey and advance information about any potential danger or a traffic flow on the stretch in which he is traveling. He should be able to rely the information that we're trying to communicate to him and plan his journey. And also in terms of comfort, he should have a good and smooth driving condition on the road, adequate amount of visibility in the night and also in adverse weather conditions like fog and rainy. And also proper services along the side road can give a road user a happy driving experience. A third attribute is technology and innovation. The two things that a road user expect from technology that we talk about today, whether it is ITMS or advanced traffic management system. Very first thing that he expects, that he should be able to get a real-time information in terms of his expected reaching time, in terms of the congestion, any lane closure, any disaster happen, or any adverse weather condition, he should get a prior information so that he can plan his travel in advance. Also, if any incident or accident happen on the road, the incident detection should happen quickly through advanced traffic management systems, and it has to be quick response time and should be a medical aid provided to a victim, and that's the road user expect out of the technology that we today talk about for highways and roads. And very last, the optimal quality service, the level of service that he expect out of these model highways. He expect that he should be able to drive through these highways without any without any interruption, without any inconvenience. There has to be a defined speed which he should be able to travel, and the level of service can only be achieved if we can incorporate these three key attributes from a road user perspective. Next slide. So through this slide, we would like to project that how an ideal model road should look like. What are the features of a model road? In this slide, you can see we have highlighted there is a CCTV camera. We talk about the road signs, road furniture, the pavement marking, and other road safety items. There has been adequate street lighting. There is a beautiful landscaping and plantation. There is a well-informed wayside amenities through various road signs. This looked like a perfect textbook kind of version of a model road. I hope this is able to suffice how we talk about the model road today. And now with this, I would like to invite my next presenter, Mr. Mohsin Khan from a traffic engineering team to take over the discussion. Mohsin, over to you.
Thanks, Chitra, for setting up the tone for the webinar. So from now onwards, we'll be discussing about how the visibility factors can improve the model road aspect, and what are the manuals which NHAI has referred in the circular published on the model road aspect. So the manuals referred are IRC 67 for the road signages, IRC 35 for the pavement marking, IRC 103 for the pedestrian safety, IRC 119 for the traffic safety barricades, IRC SP 41 for the at-grade intersection treatment, IRC 79 which got revised recently on delineators, and the landscaping and tree plantation manual which is IRC SP 21, and on top of that the 4-lane, 6-lane and the expressway manuals. So how a typical model road, as Chitra was explaining, it should have the world-class signage, it should have the proper road marking solutions, it should have the tree plantation, everything, and it should have the VMS, variable messaging signs, to give the real-time informations, the meteorological data systems, the ATMS components. It should have all-weather road marking solutions, and the surveillance and the pedestrian safety solutions. So we'll take you to the each and every components on. So first we will start with the traffic signs. The studies found that where more visible signs are installed, crash numbers have fallen from 25% to 46% in 3 to 6 years time. So that calls for the highest grade visible sheeting which can make our signs more visible. So the solution for that is the type 11 retroreflective sheeting, and that is the preferred sheet given in the 2-lane, 4-lane, 6-lane manuals which are available with us. So why type 11? Because it performs in all the distances, both short and medium distances. You can see the performance chart given in IRC 67 based on the RF values. You can see the RF values are almost 60% more than the type 4 sheeting for type 11 sheeting, and it performs in 1 degree. That means once you come close to the signage, the sign will be visible in terms of if you are using the type 11 retroreflective sheeting. Then why 3M type 11 sheeting? Different studies done by different departments shows that on an average 27% the 3M reflective sheeting is more 27% more reflective than the competition sheeting, even if irrespective of the mounting pattern which they're following. So the brighter sign means the safer roads. Safer road means smoother budget. That gives the best output for the model road. So and on top of that, the 3M testing, the sheetings are tested in Indian labs as per the IRC 67 clause 6.7. So all the sheetings has been tested in Indian condition, and on top of that, the sheetings are performing in India for more than 13-year-old. We have the installations of more than 13-year-old projects. So once we done with the visibility, then comes the legibility. So what more we can offer in terms of improving the legibility of the signs, especially the wayfinding signs. So IRC 67 refers the legibility index of 50 as per the annexure 6 of IRC 67, which talks about a font to be visible from a 50 feet, the minimum font size to be 1 inch. So if you compare with the global standards like the MUTCD standards, they were also following the same pattern of the legibility index of 50. Then during the course in 1988, they revised that to the legibility index of 40 by considering the for accommodating the old age drivers. So then again in 2009, again they revised that to legibility index of 30 to accommodate all type of road users. So what they are communicating in that aspect is this is the optimum uh, font which can be given for a mixed traffic and with by addressing all the type of road users. So in that context, legibility index 30 means from a font to be visible from a 30 feet, the font size should be 1 inch. So if you compare that both the parameters with the IRC assumption of a 60 from a 60-meter distance, the font size minimum required is 100 mm. If you compare that with the MUTCD talks about 167 mm. So you can see a big change in the font size. So that is reflecting in the signage sign designs which we are showing here. A sign designed for 50 to 65 kilometer per hour for the overhead gantry signs. You can see the difference in the size and the appearance. So this the by adopting to a latest legibility index as per the global standard can improve the legibility and accommodate the all type of road users, especially since we are talking about the model road concept. I think this is one of the critical points to be taken care. So then we all aware of the IRC 67 signages. So what more we can do in a model road aspect without violating the IRC 67 standards? We all know that the Vienna Convention is the base platform for IRC 67, and we do use to refer a lot of UK manuals for improving our road sign standards. So all these manuals are giving the option of using the backing boards for the signs which falls under the vulnerable areas, especially the speed limit sign. IRC 67 itself talks about the usage of a backing board to make it more visible. So like that, the pedestrian crossing signs also can be given with the fluorescent type backing boards to enhance the visibility, and also to follow that a pedestrian crossing informatory sign which is mentioned in IRC SP 8487 also can be given for enhancing the pedestrian safety. Since this model road will have the mixed traffic, especially which goes close to the urban areas, so you can expect a lot of intermediate public transport modes. So the facilities for the intermediate public transport modes like the pickup, drop facilities, everything to be given and informed to the road user with the use of the signage. Of course, the NHAI helpline numbers to be displayed at the periodical intervals, and suppose there is any TOS ones, those informations also shall be given with the signages. And the other critical aspect, since again it's a mixed traffic and sometimes the bus routes also will be a part of these highways. So the bus information signs as per the IRC 70, the bus route and the bus information signs also can be given along with the bus stop sign which is present, which will be present in the bus stops. So then the enforcement type of signs like the speed enforcement camera, if the camera enforcement is there, that should be alerted to the road user by giving the proper adequate signages. The red light fine informations, the people tend to violate the red lights, so that penalty information, now again the Motor Vehicle Act got revised, and that penalty information is also to be displayed to aware the road user about the particular consequences of that violation. And since it's a model road, to make it more attractive, you can have the destination information, the place identification signs with the photographs of that particular destinations. Like the suppose if it falls as a tourism destination, so that can also be displayed with the photographs, so that it will be much more attractive to the road user. And again, it's actually as per the UK standards. And some of the recent studies done by Final Mile Consultant on the behavioral aspect of the road user. So they found that the emotional aspects, the future seeing signages, how the accident occurs in a real time, if it can be showcased in a signage, especially the signage can be placed on the accident prone areas, that can again improves the safety aspect. So that aspect also can be considered. Since it's a model road, the entry itself shall be properly differentiated with an entry overhead gantry signs welcoming the road user. So again, overhead signs plays a critical role in the model road, since it's an urban area, so a lot of intersections, interchanges will be there. So before the interchanges, the built-up stretches, the overhead signs can be given, and also we can expect a restricted site distance and the insufficient space for the shoulder mounted signs. So in that context, overhead signs can play a big part in terms of giving the proper information to the road user. So 3M can help the customer in terms of designing the unique type of signs, especially if you see the sign which is shown here with a logo. So that kind of unique design for a model road stretch also can be given from the 3M side. So coming to the RPM application, so IRC35 refers the RPM application, RPM raised pavement marker, or CATSI, people used to call it in different names. So as per IRC35, it can be supplemented with the road marking, and the spacing of the RPM for the longitudinal application is being given in IRC35, like the normal sections, the shoulder edges can be, shoulder and median edges can be 18 meter, and the warning sections with all the lanes with 9 meter, and the overtaking prohibited areas with the 6 meter spacing. So since it's a model road, what difference we can make? So the one study report which we could see from Adam Pyle and Fan Ye, and which has been published in the Transportation Research Record in 2019. They did a comparison of visibility level with RPM and the regular pavement marking solutions, which clearly the output is shown here in this graph. The first two are the regular pavement marking solutions, and the next three are the RPMs with different reflective values. You can see how important the RPM plays. The values of the RPMs are giving are much higher than any of the other pavement marking solutions. So RPM is very critical, and we recommend the RPM application even in the traffic lanes as well, and also it can be supplemented with any road marking applications to make those applications much more visible. So again, the next question comes on the spacing of the RPMs. Again, I'm referring the same study report which shows that at different spacing and with the different speeds, how the RPM performs. Again, if you see the graph in the right, you can see the difference. Once the speed increases and the spacing between the RPM increases, then the visibility level goes down. So this report, they were mentioning that from 50 to 65 miles per hour, the ideal RPM spacing shall be 20 to 40 feet. That means 6 to 12 meter spacing shall be the ideal one, which shall be followed in a model road to make the model road much more visible. So why only category A? So if you see the product specification which is defined in Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, the prismatic lens is clearly defined, and the performance of category A stud compared to a glass beaded class category B stud, if you see, it's almost 8 to 9 times higher than the category B stud. So it performs much more superior than the category B stud. So we should clearly specify category A stud in our specifications. Then comes the question of why 3M. Again, 3M manufactures the category A studs only, and it is proven in Indian market for the last few decades as well. And the reflective values, the CIL values, if you compare the 3M values with the Morth specification, it's 4 times higher than the Morth required specification, and the compressive strength is 1.5 times higher than the Morth specification as well. Then RPM for a rumbling effect. Again, for the transverse applications, RPM can be used as a softened treatment to reduce the speed. As per the study report published by CRRI for the Hyderabad Outer Ring Road, this is one typical application which can help to reduce that speed. So RPM again can be used as a traffic calming measure along with the transverse applications. So then comes the solar RPM. This is again a very critical solutions as far as the model roads are concerned in terms of the visibility. Why that is critical is if you see the preview distance of the solar RPM, it gives the preview distance of more than 800 meters in a favorable condition, and it will be distinctly visible during any adverse conditions like the rainy and foggy conditions. So it can perform even in street light conditions as well as in the with the roadside activities are present. So this is one critical solution which we should take into consideration for the model roads in terms of enhancing the visibility. Then again comes the question of why 3M. So 3M solar RPM is again unique in feature with the 360-degree visibility, and so that it will be visible from all the directions. It is IP68 rated. The ingress protection is well treated here, and it's a plastic body, and the compressive strength of the 3M RPM is quite above the ministry specifications. Then the solar RPM applications, wherever the critical locations like the median openings, the sharp curves, the roundabouts, all should be treated with the solar RPM. And the other typical application which we should consider in the model road is the flyovers and the ROBs, the bridges. So as per IRC SP 8487, the spacing of solar RPM in the edge lines shall be 9 meters for the ideal application. So that shall be considered as a part of the model road solution. And we are not recommending the solar RPM for across the road applications, and it should not be installed below the shades. So the care must be taken care while implementing the solar RPMs. Then comes the roadway indicators or delineators. I'm sure NHAI is already using the delineators. So then again, you might have faced some challenges in terms of losing the reflective sheeting from the delineators. The reflectivity of the delineator is not as per the expectations. So if you see the global studies, the delineation solution is one of the critical parameter in terms of the enhancing the visibility. So IRC 79 takes all these points into consideration and given the suggestion of using the type 11 sheeting to make it much more conspicuous. And the reflective areas, if you consider, normally the conventional delineators comes with a small reflective sheet on top of the delineator. So you can see the alternate bands of reflective sheeting, white reflective sheeting, and the shape of the delineator is ellipsoidal. So that takes care of a different angularity performance, as well as the edge are well sealed so that the vandalism also can be well treated with the solution. So the spacing of the delineator is again given in this manual. So then comes the other solution, the flexible median marker. So as I mentioned earlier, so the delineators shall be upgraded with the latest delineator specification, and the median visibility also can be treated with the IRC 79 specification of flexible median marker. So the reboundability is one critical parameter which we should be considering while selecting the flexible median marker. And the type of sheeting, it shall be the fluorescent type 11 retroreflective sheeting, and the spacing is also defined in IRC. It shall be 2 meter for the urban roads and 5 meter for the other roads. So then comes the other solution, especially one of the critical, one of the main pain area for all the authorities are how to manage the possible hazards, how to conspicuous the some of the structures, some of the facilities available near to the carriageway. So aluminum backed flexible prismatic sheeting, which is defined in again in IRC 79, is a perfect solution for that. You can treat the flyover pillars, you can treat the electric poles, you can treat the even it can be applied onto the trees, the toll plaza bullnose. So all those underpasses, all those areas can be made conspicuous by using the aluminum backed flexible prismatic sheeting solution. Then comes the other solution. So since the model road comes in mostly in the urban area, again at grade intersections will be a part of most of the model road programs. So how to make so again the traffic signals will be a part of all those at grade intersections. So to make the traffic signal much more conspicuous, most of the times people in the highways tend to follow the speed, and they tend to sometimes they fail to identify the traffic signals. So the traffic signal visibility enhancement is one of the key point of improving the safety, which is being studied by FHWA and cited as one of the best solution to address the aging drivers and the drivers with different visions. So with the fluorescent yellow retroreflective border, the traffic signal can be made much more conspicuous. You can see the difference in the right down below figures. You can see without the backing board and with backing board, even without the signal lights on, with the backing board traffic signal stands very firm, and it is visible from a distance. And the crash modification, it is having a crash modification factor of 0.85 and the crash reduction percentage of 29%. Then comes the other solutions like the crash barrier can be also a part of this solution. The impact attenuators in the diverging points, tubular markers in the converging in the merging areas, and the kilometer stones also can be made conspicuous by using the retroreflective solutions. And the the plantation trees also can be made conspicuous by giving a tree guard reflector, so that the flexible type of sheeting can be applied to the tree guards to make it much more conspicuous. So that will act as a delineation as well as a anti-glare to the road user. Then we'll discuss about the elegant toll plazas. So how the elegant toll plazas can look like. So a VMS solution which can be provided well in advance to a toll plaza, which displays the congestion informations of the toll plaza and the traffic level, lane-wise traffic level, if it can be displayed and well communicated to the road user. Road user can take necessary actions to which lane he should take, and also in terms of the fast tag to the cash lanes informations to be displayed with the informatory signs, and the toll rates also to be displayed well in advance, so that the road user will be equipped before approaching to the toll plaza itself. And once approached to the toll plaza, the channelizing devices shall be there for the regularizing the traffic, and also it should have the signs to maintaining the minimum distance for better readability of the FASTag solutions, and the payment marking also can be accompanied for that. And once if you have the highway nest solutions, we have the solutions called the NeoCaps, which can help you in preparing the social distancing in the highway nest areas. Then how to assure the quality of the solutions? As I mentioned earlier, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, the IRC manuals talks about different quality parameters to be taken care, like the test certificates from the Indian test labs to be taken for all the products before the installation itself, and also how the for the source approval process, the pre-qualification warranty documents, the authorization converter documents. These two documents will help you to fine tune the supplier, whether he's authorized supplier, the quality of the material supplied will be as per the standards. You can make sure with these documents, and once that is done, you can do the manufacturer facility visit that we do recommend that activity. To make sure that the product supplying will be as per the standards and the code of practices. Once the supply is been done, and the testing can also be done at the field, and once the installation is done, the warranty certificates can be obtained, and we should have a proper maintenance schedule also, the periodical testing with the reflectometers also to be taken care for these solutions. So with this, I would like to invite Mr. Vipul Kumar Prajapati, who is from our technical service, to discuss about the road marking solutions. Over to you, Vipul.
Hey, thank you, Mohsin, and very good evening, everybody. For next 10 minutes or so, I would take you through some statistics and research carried out globally, highlighting the importance of wet retroreflectivity of pavement markings. Then we'll explain on how 3M optics technology helps you to achieve that, and what is the science behind 3M's wet optics technology. So to me, as you can see on the slide, to me, a safer road system can be developed by means of combination of safer vehicles, education of safe driving practices, and of course, safer road infrastructures. And we all agree that as far as the safe road infrastructure is concerned, pavement marking is a critical part, right? Which helps drivers maintain lane discipline by providing the on-road visibility at night time. So as per few studies, only 25% of the driving happens at night, but more than 50% accident death occurs at night. Moreover, the risk of crashes and injuries goes significantly high when it is raining. So that is something we also have observed, right? One study also established that failure to keep in proper lane was the most dangerous driving behavior. Next slide, please. Just to give you a visual perspective, this is how the pavement marking looks during a normal daytime. And as we know, the visibility of marking during daytime is attributed to its property called diffuse reflectivity, or QD. But the markings are not seen as bright as night because of the, as you can see on the slide, because of the poor retroreflectivity property. Next slide. And those are completely invisible when it is covered by the water, as you can see on the slide, again because of the poor wet retroreflectivity of the marking. So the message I want to convey is, number one, having sufficient daytime visibility does not necessarily provide equally good nighttime visibility. And number two, in order to have a marking visible in all weather conditions, it is critical that the markings have optics which gives retroreflectivity in wet condition as well. So with that, that would ensure that the markings are bright enough and clearly visible for drivers' comfort and safety in any kind of weather conditions. Next. Yeah, as per the recent joint study done by two universities, I have referred this at the bottom of the slide. In rainy conditions, to provide an adequate visibility in terms of preview time of 1.8 seconds, markings need to have a retroreflectivity of 50 millicandela per meter square per lux. When, for example, when the rain is around 1.5 each per hour. Now, this is when the vehicle is moving at a speed of around 60 mph, which is nothing but 95 kilometer per hour. Now, obviously, the marking would need much higher retroreflectivity on the road, which is designed for higher vehicle movements at a higher speed. So that means markings would have a minimum wet RL values of 50 millicandela per meter square per lux throughout the service life, right? For a road designed for a speed of 95 kilometer or above. Next. The same study also concluded that under dry condition, what are the retained RL values should be there for a defined 1.8 seconds of preview time at different speed. So we know that any product should be designed for all possible conditions, and hence both dry retroreflectivity and wet retroreflectivity performance are required for pavement markings. Next. So let us see what is the science behind the wet optics which we are talking about. For example, when a light passes from one medium to another, the light bends, and the deviation is proportional to the change in refractive index of the material. This is as per the index of refraction. Now, for example, when we put a pencil in a glass filled with water, here the light passes through two mediums, air and water, and then it comes to the viewer, right? And again, the air has a refractive index of 1, whereas the water has a 1.33. So that's the reason we see a distorted pencil image, because the light has to pass to two different material with two different refractive index. Now the image distortion would be completely different if we change the water with some other material having a different refractive index. So that explains that the effect of materials refractive index on the movement of light rays. Now let's apply that principle to the how 3M has developed the optics. So just focus on this bottom left image, which I marked as the dry conditions. Now the gray lines are representing the movement of lights from a 1.5 index optics, and the yellow lines are representing the movement of lights from 1.9 index optics. You can see that 1.5 index glass beads are used in thermoplastic pavement marking. They do a fairly good job of returning the light from vehicle headlight back to the driver in dry condition. But again, theoretically, the yellow line, the 1.5 index is the one which will give you more than 90% light back to the driver. Now focus on the next sketch, which I marked as a wet condition. Now let's see what happens when it is raining. So here again, the gray lines are representing the movement of light from 1.5 index optics, and the yellow line is representing the movement of lights from 2.4 index optics. Now the when markings and hence the glass beads are covered by water, the 1.5 index of glass beads is not good enough to return the light back to the driver. You can see. Rather, most of the light scatters around, and that's the reason driver cannot see the marking when it's raining. But as you can see, the high index optics with 2.4 index eliminates the effect of water layer and ensures that more than 90% light goes back to the driver, and that is the reason driver can see the markings even if the markings are covered by water. So the high refractive index optics with both 1.9 index and 2.4 index can be blended in different proportion to have an optimal performance both in dry condition as well as the rainy condition. So we have this particular technology available in two forms. One is the optics, which can be used along with the thermoplastic paint, and we also have the same technology available in terms of prefabricated tape, what you can see the pictures on the same slide. Next. Yeah. So this is the summary of performance requirements for pavement markings as per ISC 35. We are happy to see that ISC have specified the wet retroreflectivity performance parameters called wet recovery RL. Yeah. However, there is one more parameter called wet continuous RL, which demonstrates the performance of markings in continuous rain conditions. Now, since 3M optics are designed for all weather performance, we are studying this parameter also in our study on the Indian roads. Next. Yeah, in next two slides, I will explain what are the differences between current thermoplastic marking and the 3M's advanced marking system. So as you can see on the slide, and most of you are aware that the current thermoplastic marking have type 1 glass beads as a part of the formulation, and type 2 glass beads are being used as a drop-on optics, right? Next. Whereas in case of 3M's advanced marking system, we have two drop-on optics. One is the 3M elements, which is nothing but 3M optics, and the larger diameter type 3 glass beads. Now here the 3M elements are highly engineered material with each particle having ceramic core with 1.9 and 2.4 index microcrystalline bits on the surface. And as you can see on the picture, the equipment used for this application comes with a double drop dispenser, one for the 3M elements and one for the type 3 glass bits. Next. Yeah. The slide summarizes the capability we have developed on application as well as the testing front for this product for India market. Now, these are the equipments which are used for application of the thermoplastic paint and the prefabricated tape. And we have capability for testing the marking for both wet continuous and wet recovery performance parameter as per ASTM and EN standards. So this is the complete setup which is being used for measuring the both wet recovery as well as the wet continuous parameter for the marking. Yeah. Next. So these are the 8 months performance data of installations we have done on Indian Road. The top 3 graphs are for the prefabricated tape product. The gray bar is for prefabricated tape designed for both dry and wet retroreflectivity performance. The blue bar is for prefabricated tape designed for only dry performance, and the orange bar is for commercially available thermoplastic material. And the red line, what you see on the graph, is nothing but the retained RL values defined by ISC 35. So you can see that 3M prefabricated tape have significantly higher initial values as well as the retained values at the end of the 8 months, even after 8 months on the road. The bottom 3 graphs are for the 3M optics, which are to be used along with the thermoplastic paint. Again, we have taken 2 different variants. One is for only dry performance and one is for both dry and wet performance. And again, you can see it is having very high initial RL values as well as very good retained RL values at the end of 8 months. Next. So let me take you to some pictures captured at the night at our India trial site. So these are the pictures this is the way you see when it is raining. You don't see the marking, as I said, completely, right? And now this is what you see when with the 3M markings. So you can see the completely bright and visible 3M marking, even if it's raining and covered with water. Next. Similarly, in dry condition, again, this is the way you see the normal thermoplastic, and this is the way you see 3M markings with higher dry RL values. So here is my closing message, that having field study done in India for our advanced marking product, it will allow road agencies to witness the enhanced performance and will help in making the right choice that best serves the purpose of on-road safety by means of enhanced nighttime visibility under all weather conditions. With that, I would now hand over to my colleague Harshal to take over for his part of presentation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Vipul. Good evening, everyone. Welcome for the webinar. I will be taking you through advanced traffic management systems, which is basically intelligent traffic management system. We have certain products which go into ITMS, primarily VMS, driver feedback systems, those kind of products. So I will just run you through the VMS slides majorly. So if you see the slide, the ATMS components, the basic fabric that is made up of, it is consisting of connectivity. Then you have a control and command center, which basically controls all your products and services which are installed in the various parts of the city or on the roads. And then you have different products like VMS, vehicle actuated speed display, weigh in motion to measure the weights on the trucks and different commercial vehicles. Then you have radio mobile systems. Then you have one of the biggest component is CCTV surveillance, which basically gives you incident management and a lot of artificial intelligence coming into it to predict accidents or predict number plates and recognize number plates. So these are the basic components of ATMS. I will just go on to the next slide where you see how VMS fits into this whole ITMS domain. Before VMS, we also have one of the major products, which is vehicle actuated speed display systems. It is nothing but a combination of your retroreflective signages plus your radar based driver feedback system, which gives you the speed of the vehicle that is passing through, and it basically calms down the driver if the speed is very high. If suppose the limit is 80 kilometers per hour on the road and the driver is passing at a speed of 90 kilometers, the display would be 90 in a red color, and you can, I mean, obviously blink it or give some kind of warning to the driver so that the speed is reduced to below 80 kilometers per hour. Next slide. So what basically VMS is it's a very customized product. It has been there in the market, in the country, in the world since ages. What 3M has added onto it is a lot of innovation, a lot of real-time data, a lot of customization in size, a lot of customizations, colors and displays. Those many innovations that have been brought on by 3M makes it a very intelligent product, and it's a futuristic product. So if you see in these three configurations, VMS basically comes in a different size. You can customize the size basis on the, I mean, the basic dimension of 1 meter by 1 meter. You can multiply it across the length and across the height, and then you have multiple sizes like 3 meters by 2 meters, 5 meters by 2 meters, 4 by 3, 5 by 3. Many combinations can be made. And then you have a compact design, which will basically give you a single cabinet of 1 meter by 1 meter, and it can just give you the data about basic informations like do not drink and drive, park your vehicles in parking, real-time data like weather and congestion. All those things can be done. Then you have a third category, which is basically a portable VMS. So normally a VMS is mounted on a steel
So the break in the audio. I think Harshal might be facing some connection issues. Can I request Adi to take over so that I
Sure, Deepti, I'll take it over from here. We'll wait for Harshal to come back. In the meantime,
next slide.
Okay, I think Harshal is back.
So this is basically a petrol vehicle in which a portable VMS is displayed. You can have basic equipments of traffic safety before the construction work zones or where accidents have happened, and then you can divert traffic or maybe manage the traffic congestion according to the site and according to the requirement of the incidents. Next slide. So now I will explain you how VMS has been innovated or renovated by 3M, and then you can basically see what all features we have added into it. So if you see on the first pillar, which is a conventional VMS, which has been there since ages, it basically shows your amber color or single color displays static messages like do not drink and drive, wear helmets, wear seat belts, those kind of static messages. What we have added onto it is real-time data. We basically pick up data from Google Maps or your traffic data providers like TomTom, which is worldwide available. And then those data, that raw data has been picked up from our software, and it gives you an analytics based on it. What is the real-time traffic from position A to the nearby 4 or 5 locations which you want to, I mean, display on the VMS. It also gives you congestion analytics, whereon basically what is the peak time of traffic, whether the congestion level is high or low. All those things it can display. It also gives you, I mean, which is the best suitable route to go from one place to another based on the locations that you enter at that particular location where usually the traffic goes from. Then you have another real-time information that it automatically gives onto the VMS is weather data. We have obviously integrated with real-time weather data providers like Yahoo Weather, AccuWeather. Then we also integrated with environmental sensors, which can be installed at that particular on-premise location. Or maybe we can pick up data from a command and control center, feeding it to that particular junction or that particular city or that particular location, where it can show you NOx levels, CO2 levels, and then your current humidity, temperature, and information about rainfall, and all those things can be displayed on the VMS in real time. There is no manual intervention required, and our system functions on its own. The third, integration, which is again very value-added integration that we have done, is the parking system. If you have a nearby parking, service provider who can give us the raw data about how many parking slots are available and which all parking places are there nearby, so that the commuters who are searching for parking slots and just congesting the road will basically go to the nearby parking slots and park their vehicles. And then you have many other integrations that are possible, like emergency messages, Twitter integration, whatever Twitter messages authority wants to display in real time, it can be done through the control and command center. Then you have the basic features, like it is connectivity. You can give it by Wi-Fi, Ethernet, SIM card based, any kind of connectivity is available in the system. It's highly configurable and customizable. It's automated and intelligent on its own. Multicolor display is there, and it's a maintenance free, and a service kind of a very limited service is required. We usually do it for 5 years as an annual maintenance contract with the customer. It runs in all weather conditions, whether it's rainfall, whether it's humidity, high levels, bright temperature, sun signs like plus 60 degrees centigrades. Even in the snowfall areas like minus 10 degrees centigrades, we have integrated these kind of systems. Next slide. So basically, we give you to control the VMSs across the city or across on a model road where you have placed 4 or 5 VMSs. You can use the app that we provide. We have come up with an Android and iOS based app, or we can use the web based control center. We give you the user ID and password, and then you can control all the VMSs, the content that you want to display, like VVIP convos, ambulance parking, emergency messages. All those things can be done immediately, so that the information is passed on to the citizens in a real-time way and in a mass communication way. Next slide. One of the major features and a very important feature is security. So that nobody hacks onto these VMS display systems and publishes unwanted messages or tries to create panic in the among the citizens. So for that, we have done 128-bit encryption, which is also there in WhatsApp, so that your control on the VMSs is kind of very highly secured. Next slide. So this basically diagram shows how the solution works. On the rightmost side, you see the display, which is basically a VMS display. Then just left to that is the player, which basically localized in a localized way. It connects to the VMS players, and then it disseminates information on real time. These media players come along with our VMS systems, and these media players communicate to the command and control center in a web way or in an app way, through the backbone of network and satellite or internet connections. And then that is how the information flows from command and control center to the endpoint, that is VMS display boards. Next slide. So now I will show you the major use cases that we have deployed in many cities. First use case is the real-time information about traffic, be it congestion, optimal routes, journey time, weather, parking, air quality. All those things can be done, and you can obviously also integrate it with ITMS or ATMS application, and based on that, whatever real-time information you want to display, it can be easily integrated with our VMS software solution. The second major use case is emergency messages in terms of accidents, diversions, maybe construction work zones, ambulance, fire, VVIP convoys, sometimes some types of events, like when there is a president of a big country coming and visiting India. That time you can do VVIP convoy messages, and then public events like air shows and all those things can be displayed in the emergency messages kind of use case. Next slide. This basically shows the way we have innovated the design content on it. It's basically a depiction kind of way. We have also animated some of those symbols, because this is a presentation, we are not able to show the animated slides, but this is the way we basically show the content on VMSs, so that it captures the eye of the commuters and the drivers who are driving on the road. Next slide. One of the major use cases currently being deployed in all the VMSs across India is a disaster management. Basically, in events like earthquakes, tsunami, floods, a current unfortunate pandemic-like scenario where people are to be communicated in a mass way. A lot of authorities and departments are using it for depicting information about COVID-related information like cover your hands and mouth and then use sanitizers and avoid touching each other's and all those things. So we can basically display those kind of emergency disaster management messages also. Next slide. This is a slide which shows you basically a city branding kind of theme that you can give to the entire city. Even in model roads, if there is a stretch of 15-20 kilometers, which NHAI is aggressively developing, then you can give the whole theme that this is developed by NHAI, and then all these features are available on this stretch. Wi-Fi is available, CCTV surveillance is available, so that you can basically brand the whole model road and also create awareness among the city that there is a lot of development work that is happening from the government and from the department. Then obviously, as I told you, real-time events like air shows, flood warnings, hailstorm warnings, all those things can be done as a use case. Next slide. So this is one of the applications that we have thought over for toll plazas. It has currently been not deployed, majorly in India, but we can use this as a kind of a model implementation for these model roads, wherein you can give in advanced information to drivers and people who are traveling from one city to another. Informations like fare, information like congestion ahead, information like which diversion to take, where to take, all those things can be displayed on the toll plazas. Next slide. I will just show you a couple of ways where you can keep VMSs, and this can be anyways customized, and as per the requirement and as per the design team, we can implement any other kind of design that the department wants or the customer wants. Next slide. Next. This is a gantry-like application wherein you show all the informations about estimated journey times, traffic congestion, all these things is where basically we show it in the smart cities where we have implemented VMSs, and you can add a lot of more graphics and a lot of more information as per the requirement. Next slide. So the next 3-4 slides are basically examples of how VMS can be giving you a good model road in terms of giving a good look and feel, and also giving you good information to the drivers. In this slide, you see all the products of 3M basically giving a good visibility of a model road. Median markers, VMSs, sheetings, many other products, RPMs, and everything is there. Next slide. This is again in Bangalore where we had shown into the department. Next. This is in Chennai where we can show temperature and humidity levels, minimum and maximum temperature, wind loads. So these are just the pictures wherein I leave it to the imagination of the audience. Basically, what all we can do, it's all customizable, and we can all, use it for different use cases. Next. I will cover the few new use cases that we have identified. Go to the next. Yeah, next. This is like an ambulance green channel. If you want to give it, we can use that VMS for ambulance green channel so that the ambulance doesn't get stuck in the traffic, and a lot of lives can be saved by giving a green channel to the people who are stuck in the traffic, and the ambulance also stuck because of the traffic. Next. And this is one more use case where we have basically integrated VMS along with your traditional signages, so that cost can be optimized and also relevant information is given, rather than taking the whole space of the gantry and increasing the burden of expense on the department. We can integrate it with the existing signages also. Next. These are the projects that we have done. We have had good traction over the last 4-5 years. We have almost done 450 VMSs across India. In 12-13 smart cities, we have implemented it. We have done it with traffic police and a couple of municipal corporation and West Bengal irrigation kind of departments as well. Some of Mumbai-Pune expressway scenarios also we have done. Recently, we have done 2 installations in for NHAI on the Dhola-Kuan Delhi-Gurgaon expressway. So many other projects we are in talks where we are kind of starting implementation. So yeah, next slide. I'll just show you the success stories of what all and where all we have done. Pune, Kolkata, Prayagraj, Gwalior. Prayagraj was basically a event-based use case wherein the Kumbh Mela was kind of the focus point, and a lot of information was given to people who are visiting Kumbh Mela. Next slide. These have been done in NCR, Gurgaon, Agra Smart City, 10 locations, 12 locations. So these are all in a very city-specific, implementation. But I am very sure that model roads are also going to be in the vicinity of the capital and on the roads which are basically having a lot of urban population. Yeah, next slide. This is one of our, biggest implementation, a 5 meter by 3 meters implementation. This is done for Pimpri-Chinchwad Municipal Corporation, which is again a smart city. We have done 60 VMSs there. We have installed. We are in the process of completing that project. One addition is that we have done revenue generation also. The department wants to do revenue generation, but we basically don't want the advertisements to run on the VMSs. But we can do that model also. Next slide.
Harshal, sorry to interrupt you, but in the interest of time, we might need to close the webinar for now. So I'll just give you maybe 1 more minute to conclude.
Yeah, so we'll just run the 2-3 slides which are left. Next slide, please. These are the public information systems on the bus stops that we can do. Next slide. Couple of new use cases like live Twitter feed, a cow coming on the road, then you can identify that object and give a warning message in front of that accident. Next slide. Noise levels, high beams, all these kind of messages we can integrate with the VMS solution, and then this can be displayed on the VMSs. Next slide. So basically our, conventional VMS, we have added a lot of innovation from 3M. And that is why our, 3M's VMS is a lot more smarter as compared to the conventional VMSs. And on top of everything, we stand for the service that we give. That's the, conventional versus 3M Smart VMS comparison. Next slide. So that brings to the end of the presentation. If you have any queries or any questions, you can, reach out to any of us, and also on the contact list that is given, and also through the Q&A, forum that we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harshal. So I hope this was an interesting webinar for most of you, and I apologize for exceeding the time by 7 minutes. I also appreciate all the questions that have been posted on the Q&A section. If you have more questions, please do post it on the Q&A and leave your contact information so that we can get back to you offline in case we're not able to take those questions right now. Once you finish the webinar, you will also be asked for a feedback, a small 3 questions feedback questionnaire. I would encourage you to please answer that so that we're able to improve such sessions in the future. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to take 3 questions that have been posted on the group for now. And I assure you that we will get back to each one of you if you have posted questions on the group. And we will be sharing the recording with all of you who have shared your contact information on the Q&A. So the first question that I will take up for the session is posted that what should be the standard offset for pavement edge for road signs? Can I request Dr. Ammu to please answer this?
Thank you for the question. The type of sign clearance is actually different, depend upon the type of signs and the location where it is placed. So we can't just have a clear-cut answer okay, how much lateral clearance should be there. It depends upon the size, type of the sign. Like if I say an example, the clearance for pole mounted and gantry signs are different. So I would suggest you to please refer IRC 67/2012 table 4.1 and figure 4.1. So it will give you a clear idea. So what type of sign and what should be the clearance should be maintained.
Thank you, Dr. Amu. And while I have you on the line, there was one more question posted about what should be the size of mandatory road signs on access controlled 6-lane expressways?
So whatever the design speed of the road is there, it is considered as a benchmark to design the size of the sign. So whether it is mandatory, whether it is cautionary, the size is dependent on the design speed. So again, IRC has different tables for different category of the signs to determine the speed. So let's say, for example, of expressway, which you said, if the design speed is 81 to 100 km/h, the diameter should be 900 mm. And if it is greater than 100 km/h, the diameter of the same should be 1200 mm.
Thank you, Dr. Amu. We had one more question asked about what exactly is meant by legibility index. Can I please request Mr. Pramod Bhaskar to take up this question?
Yes, Dipti. Legibility index is basically a measure of the legibility distance as a function of the letter height, and it's expressed in feet per inch. For example, if the legibility index is 50 feet per inch, it means that for a sign to be visible from 50 feet, the height of the letter should be 1 inch. And if a legibility index is 30 feet per inch, then it means that from 30 feet, if you want to see and understand what is written, then the height of the letter should be 1 inch.
Thank you, Pramod. We are getting a lot of feedback that people are wishing for a longer Q&A session. Again, I apologize on behalf of the team for running a little over our time. But I request you once more to please leave your questions in the Q&A section with your contact information, and we will get back to each one of you offline. You can also feel free to drop an email to transportation_safety@mmm.com, the email ID that you see on the screen here, and we can reply to you over email as well. With this, we kind of end our webinar. Thank you so much for your participation. I hope it was an interesting webinar for most of you, and I encourage you to get in touch with us for any requirement or support that you might need for the National Highway Model Road project. Thank you, take care, and good day.